Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. My background is in visual perception. I'm a neuroscientist. So perception is what I'll be talking about today. Knowledge is power. I'm sure we've all heard this before, but I'll be telling you today about, okay, now you can hear me. I'll be talking about the power of being aware of the lack of knowledge as well, our limitations of knowledge. And because I'm into vision, we start with visual perception first. Now, our brain relies on our senses for all the information it gets about the environment. Without the senses, the brain has no clue what's going on. And our senses are quite limited. If you look at our visual sense, the visible light is actually a very narrow band of the electromagnetic spectrum. We don't see in the ultraviolet wavelengths. We don't see X-ray, gamma rays. We don't see infrared, radar, radio waves. All of that is lost to us. So there's a whole bunch of information out there that we have no clue about. Okay, even if we do see something, we don't see as much as we think we do. If we manage to keep our eyes very still, look at one spot only, and we look at a sculpture like this is roughly what we see. The bulk of the visual field is all blurred. There's only one sharp spot in the center where our fovea is pointing, the area in our retina which has very high density of photoreceptors. The rest is blurred. Why do we see everything sharp around us? Or we think we do. Because the eye keeps moving around, pointing at different spots, and the brain assembles an overall image from all these different snapshots. So what you think you see is this. But that's actually not really what's there. That's what the brain constructs for you. Now, even if we do see things, we may not pay attention to it. Who in this room can tell me when you came up the escalator to the 3rd floor, what was on the left side? Anyone remember what was on the left side? Sorry? Okay, could be, I don't remember. Because I was walking up, looking where to go. I didn't pay attention to decorations or anything that was not relevant to me at the time. So our brain filters out things that are not relevant. If you're sitting in the office, doing your work, or let's say you're in the library studying, whatever, you think you know what's going on. You're in control of the situation, but you actually have no clue of the mosquito that has been sitting under the desk for the last 5 minutes, getting ready to come and bite you. Or you're not aware of your colleague 2 meters further down, struggling with his Excel spreadsheet that you could help him with, but he doesn't ask. Or the water pipe in the ceiling that is leaking and slowly soaking through the ceiling board, waiting to come down. All you're aware of is the Facebook updates of your friends that you keep checking every 2 minutes. Beyond the office, in our neighborhood, there's a lot of things we're not aware of either. I live in an apartment block, one just like this, and most of the time I'm not aware of the few dozen people right above me and below me because I don't need to know about them. It's only when they're having a party then I know. So there's a lot of information out there that we filter out, and that's a good thing. Because if I was fully aware of everyone around me all the time, every detail of my environment, I would see the glare of the radio waves coming through the walls all the time. I wouldn't be able to function. I need irrelevant information to be filtered out. And our brain and senses are very good at filtering. They have evolved to filter out all the irrelevant stuff and give us only that information that is important, useful for our survival. Not only filtering out, but the brain also enhances that information. It analyzes it, it processes it, and gives us additional information that's actually not contained in the raw data, which can lead to effects like this, where it tells you, your brain tells you there's something moving up there, but actually it isn't. This is a still image. You probably have seen this before. Now, the crucial thing is, when the brain is telling us what it thinks is out there, it's not telling us that this is only a guess, that this is only part of the story, that there's more out there that we don't know about. We are under the impression that we know what's out there. I call this delusions of cognizance. We think we know what's out there, but actually we have very little idea. Now, if we look at society, humanity, surely our collective knowledge is a lot better than that. Science has been pushing the frontiers of knowledge and continues to push. Every day we hear of new discoveries like subatomic particles that were discovered at CERN, or drugs that have been designed at the molecular level to attack a particular protein, all the way out to galaxies at the edge of the universe. So science has come up with ways to extend our senses, so we don't rely on visible light, audible sounds, or touchable surfaces to know about our environment. We can send satellites to orbit around Earth and use microwaves to measure the extent of the ozone hole over the Arctic. We can use magnetic resonance to pinpoint the area of the brain that becomes active when you're sitting there listening to me, trying to figure out where I'm going with this. And hopefully, you won't lose consciousness in the process. But again, we hear about all these different things that we know about, and we don't hear about things that we don't know. If you ask any scientist, there's a lot more questions than there are answers, but we don't hear about them. So just like individuals, society is suffering from delusions of cognizance as well. We think we know, or somebody knows, but actually we don't. Where this becomes dangerous is when it leads to delusions of control. If I know how a watch works, let's say, it's easy to control that and change it by changing a little gear here or there and make it work differently. And now we know, or we think we know, how our atmosphere works, right? What happens up there to keep us warm and things like that. And we think we can go and engineer that process as well. Geoengineering, right? Changing the climate. But we actually don't even understand machines that we build ourselves. Computers are a fantastic piece of engineering, but they are so complex by now that nobody really knows what's going inside there. My IT support definitely doesn't know what's going on inside my laptop most of the time. And we tend to forget that there's a lot there that we don't know. Part of that is also, this thing is running out of battery, okay. Due to delusions of grandeur. Too many of us think that we are masters of the planet. Here we are, recent arrivals to the scene, after billions of years of nature getting along just nicely without us. And we think we own it all. Right? we forget that the planet has gone through a whole range of conditions that change every now and then, and it changes the groups of organisms that live on the planet as well. For the planet, the current conditions and the current groups of organisms, including us, is just one of many. But for us, the current conditions are crucial to our survival. So whenever I hear somebody say, let's save the planet, I cringe, because the planet can look after itself. We have to save ourselves. That's what we should try and do. So this all seems a bit of a downer, right? Here I am trying to inspire you with great ideas, and all I'm telling you how ignorant we really are. But it's actually very powerful to know of our ignorance. If we know that our senses are limited, we can design tools and equipment to extend our senses so that we can collect more data and come to more informed decisions. As individuals, if we know that most of our environment escapes our attention, we maybe can be a bit more tolerant of other people's perceptions and other people's memories of events that we all attended, but they are different than ours. In a group of people living in or working in the same environment, if we are aware that these people quite likely live in a completely different world from us, because their perception is just as limited as ours, but it's focused on a different part of the environment, then we can be a bit more tolerant of their different ideas and different approaches. And if we keep this in mind, this is actually removing a huge source of conflicts and misunderstandings from our lives. As society, if we are more aware that there's things going on out there that we can't even imagine, we can be a bit less dismissive of other groups. We can be more charitable towards people in need, and we're also less vulnerable to scam artists and marketing campaigns and things like that. And finally, at the global level, if humanity becomes a bit more aware that there's lots that escapes our attention, that is beyond our perception, beyond our understanding, beyond our imagination even, maybe we won't put so much faith into technical solutions and our engineering and problem-solving prowess to solve future problems. If we are more aware that science doesn't have all the answers and won't be able to pull us out of every mess that we get ourselves into, maybe we will try not to get into that mess in the first place. Maybe we'll be more aware that we need to change our ways if you want humanity to survive. Thank you.